Hello everyone. So in this tutorial we are going to see from the any open ports whether we can be an anonymous user to log in the network or system or not. So I am using Metasploitable 2 and Kali Linux in this tutorial. Now my Metasploitable 2 is the target to whom I am trying to get enter. So for that let's check what is its IP address. So its IP address is simply 192.168.84.130. Now I'm going back to my Kali Linux OS and using Nmap I am checking whether I can go for FTP login or not. So over here it displays me the output that yes, this particular port 21 open and it's being used by the service FTP and version is VS FTPD 2.3.4. Now let's check whether I can go for any anonymous login or not for this particular address. Now over here it asking me the root privileges which I want to give like the exact username. So right now from the unknown person perspective I am not knowing any kind of user. So for that I can go for anonymous login. So if you can see over here, I am going for the anonymous login and it's asking for me the password. But for anonymous as such, there is no password. I will simply pressing enter and it's give me the output that 230 login successful. So over here it displays me that I have successfully logged in as an anonymous user. But uh, also whether I have any kind of privilege to change or modify certain directories, files, or not, you can check for that as well because for an anonymous or the guest entry, there is no such privileges assigned that you can go for the modification or updation of the document. So let's see, I am trying to check for any kind of listing. So it says that entering extended passive mode, here comes the directory listing, directory send okay. So from this you can see that you are not able to check for the certain commands because you are the anonymous user. So that's the reason you are not able to go for any kind of modification that has been restricted. So over here the vulnerability of the system was that it has an opening to an anonymous user, and by using this they can try to go for n number of commands from which they can penetrate in the network or exploit the system, which is very harmful for an organization perspective, also for an individual perspective also. So I hope you got how to identify and how to penetrate in the system. So over here you have seen that uh, in by anonymous login user we are not able to modify any kind of thing. But what if the attacker is very well aware about the user and its password? So let's assume that the attacker is knowing your username as well as the password, and then he is trying to log in. So my target was the metasploitable. So that's by default the password and the username is msf admin. So yeah, I am right now successfully logged in, but let's check whether I have privileges or not. Exactly. So that's where the difference between being an anonymous user and being the root user or the owner of that particular system. So over here, as I have given the username and the password of the actual user which has been using this system, that is msf admin, I am able to fetch each and every detail like the directory which has been listed that is vulnerable, and whether I can create any kind of directory or not. So let's assume I am creating a directory which states the name as Kali output. So it states that directory has been created successfully in the home msf admin uh, path. So let's check whether it has been successfully created or not. So over here first of all, let's check the directory, that is present working directory is home msf admin. So that's mean my Kali output directory should be created over here. So yes, the output directory has successfully created and it's visible on the remote network as well. So that's where you can say that FTP opening is very much vulnerable, with whether with the perspective of the anonymous root login, or whether with the perspective of the actual root user login from the remote desktop, because it's not going to able to identify by the remote user or from the individual perspective whether there is an anonymous login or not. So I hope you got to know that how you are going to use this particular FTP anonymous opening, and how you can configure or check for certain kind of modifications. So you should be very updated with your network, whether it's your system or it's talking about the organization system. There should be only default open ports should be there, like your website opening ports or your 80443 only. Every port should not be publicly accessible. So I hope you got the point. Thank you so much.